I remember I was running a workshop and I arrived nice and early to do this workshop, and a woman arrived probably 45 minutes before anybody else, and her name was Marion. So I had a quick word with Marion, said just got to set up a few things. And then I had still about 30 minutes left before the workshop was going to start. There was still just me and Marion in the room. So I thought I'll use my, my good interpersonal small talking skills. And noticed Marion was reading a newspaper at the house section. So I said to her, "Oh, looking to move house, are we?" And she looked at me and went, "Is that any of your bloody business?" Call me intuitive, but I sensed she wasn't up for small talk. The first section of S.U.M.O, Your Relationships, is called the 7 S.U.M.O realities. And I guess reality is this: you're always going to come across Marions in life. The people that no matter how skilled you seek to be, no matter how you think about their needs and you try and be practical and use all these kind of like people skills that we've acquired along the way, there's always going to be what I call the Marion. That's just a reality. We need to sometimes recognise also that sometimes things have happened in people's lives from the past that very much influence how they are now. And there's probably not a lot we can do about it, and perhaps maybe not a lot they can do about it. Another S.U.M.O reality I've got is E plus R equals O. What's that about? You may remember a TV programme called Neighbours from Hell. And there was one particular episode that really got me kind of like frustrated. It was about a couple, 2 couples living next door to each other. One couple in their 50s, early retired, into bird watching. Living next door to another couple, also in their 50s, early retired, not into bird watching, but living with elderly mother. One day the woman here spots a bird in a garden she ain't seen before, grabs the binoculars to look at the bird. The bird then flies over into next door neighbour's garden. Well, without thinking, she just follows the bird. At that precise moment, elderly mother in this house is in the conservatory. Cue stereotyped impression of elderly mother. Doing an impression of a Bradford City defender, except she was walking with a lot more pace, self-belief and conviction. She happens to look up at the precise moment woman next door's looking into her garden. She thinks she's been spied upon. Well, the son is interviewed for the documentary and he said the following: "When my mother saw she was being spied upon, she was devastated. We had no choice but to grow these fast-growing conifers." Well, these fast-growing conifers, they grew fast and they grew tall. They planted that many that after a while, the couple here, their light was completely blocked out. And they kind of like went, "Oi, any chance to like trim them down by about 20 feet, please?" And the people over here went, "No. We'll take you to court." Ooh, scared. Go on then. And they did. The last I heard, it had only cost in the region of £50,000 in court and legal costs to resolve the issue. E plus R equals O. See, the E stands for event. There was an event. Oh, I think I'm being spied upon. There was also an outcome. Fast-growing conifers and 50 grand in court and legal costs. But actually, before there was an outcome, there was the R, reaction or response. And what I look at in this section, S.U.M.O Your Realities, is that very often people's formula in life seems to be E equals O. That's the event, if that's the experience I have, if that's the way someone else behaves, then you know what the outcome's going to be. And what I'm trying to explain and explore in that section is this: actually, it's not the event. It's not how someone's maybe treating you. It's how you and I respond that will determine the outcome. After all, you're not a fish. You don't have to take the bait. Let's imagine it wasn't elderly mother in the conservatory. Let's imagine it was you. I mean, I guess one of your options would have been to be devastated and to grow fast-growing conifers if you saw next-door neighbour looking at you through a pair of binoculars. But some people might just wave back. Others might just ignore it and get on with life. And others might decide to reveal a part of their body. I don't know. The fact is, if you'd have responded differently, you'd have got a different outcome. A lot of our realities in our relationships, we automatically think that it's because of someone else's behaviour that we now have a difficult, challenging outcome. What I want to explore is it's the event, the behaviour, plus how I choose to respond that determines the outcome. And very often we respond on automatic pilot without consciously thinking. So we'll look at how to respond more effectively to some of our realities. Another reality, finally, just to sort of finish off, is a bit about the beach ball. I guess we've got a 6-colour beach ball here. In fact, I'm not guessing, it's true, we've got a 6-colour beach ball. But from, if you can imagine this, well, if you can imagine you're looking at this beach ball from your perspective, I'm looking at it from mine. We're looking at the same object here, we're looking at the same beach ball. But from where I'm looking, it is clearly green, red and yellow. But what colours do you see? Isn't it interesting in life? See, one of my S.U.M.O realities is a bit about the beach ball. You see, very often people are looking at a situation, but they're looking at it from a different perspective. And what I look at in the book is factors that influence why people see the beach ball differently. You see, very often it's easy to go into a situation and think, well, look, you're seeing it as one set of colours, I'm seeing it as another. One of us is obviously wrong, and it's not me. Well, perhaps we need to shut up thinking our view of the beach ball is the only way of looking at things and move on to explore other people's perspectives. That's a bit about the beach ball, and that's another S.U.M.O reality.